The basketball world was not expecting anything unusual. It seemed like just another routine day around Caitlin Clark and her team. Training sessions were ongoing, players were focused, and everything appeared completely normal on the surface. But sometimes the biggest stories begin quietly, and this was one of those moments. Reports began to surface that something unexpected had taken place involving not just Caitlin Clark, but also Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull. At first, fans didn't think much of it. After all, players often meet, discuss strategies, or make appearances together. It all started when the three players were seen entering a team-related facility together. While that alone wasn't unusual, what followed began to raise questions. Insiders hinted that the meeting was not just about routine planning or training. There were whispers that something significant was being discussed behind closed doors, something that could potentially impact the direction of their team. As the news slowly spread, fans began connecting the dots. Why were these three specific players together? What could they be planning? And most importantly, why was there so much secrecy around it? The curiosity quickly turned into speculation, and speculation turned into widespread discussion across social media platforms. What made this situation even more intriguing was the combination of personalities involved. Caitlin Clark, known for her confidence and leadership, has already proven that she isn't afraid to take bold steps. Sophie Cunningham brings intensity and experience, while Lexie Hull is known for her strong presence and consistency. Together, they represent a powerful mix of talent, mindset, and influence. For many fans, the idea of these three players coming together for something unexpected was enough to create excitement and concern. Was this a strategic move, a major announcement, or something even bigger that no one had anticipated? As hours passed, more people began to take notice. Analysts started discussing the situation, and fans began sharing theories. Some believed it could be a positive development, a sign of strong teamwork and unity. Others wondered if it might indicate tension, changes, or decisions that could shake things up. One thing became clear very quickly. This was no ordinary moment. Whatever had happened behind those doors had already started to create a ripple effect. And as more details began to emerge, it was becoming increasingly obvious that this situation had the potential to turn into one of the biggest talking points in recent basketball discussions. Now, all eyes are on Caitlin Clark and her teammates. Because when players like these make a move together, it's never small. It's something that everyone ends up talking about. As the initial shock began to settle, the biggest question on everyone's mind was simple. What actually happened behind those closed doors? The meeting involving Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull was no longer just a rumor. It had officially become the center of attention. Sources close to the situation suggested that the discussion was far from routine. This wasn't just about practice schedules or game strategies. Instead, it appeared to involve deeper conversations about roles, expectations, and possibly even decisions that could influence the team's future direction. What made things even more intense was the level of secrecy surrounding the meeting. No official statements were released immediately. No clear explanations were given. And in today's world, where information spreads instantly, silence often creates more noise than words ever could. Fans began analyzing every small detail. From body language in recent interviews to subtle changes in social media activity, nothing went unnoticed. Some pointed out that Caitlin Clark had seemed unusually serious in her latest appearance. Others noticed that Sophie Cunningham's tone in interviews had shifted slightly, hinting at something bigger happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Lexie Hull's quiet but focused demeanor only added to the mystery. This kind of situation often leads to one thing: speculation. And that's exactly what happened. Some believed that the players were discussing a major strategic change, possibly redefining how the team operates on the court. Others went further, suggesting that this could be related to internal disagreements or the need to address growing pressure from outside expectations. The involvement of Caitlin Clark made the situation even more significant. As one of the most talked about players in the game right now, any move she makes automatically becomes a headline. When you combine that with two strong teammates like Cunningham and Hull, the impact multiplies. At the same time, insiders hinted that the conversation may have been about taking control, about players stepping up and having a stronger voice in decisions that affect them. In modern sports, this kind of shift is becoming more common. Athletes are no longer just participants. They are influencers, leaders, and decision-makers. But with that power comes risk. Any decision made in such moments can either strengthen a team or create new challenges. And that's exactly why this meeting has everyone watching so closely. As the hours turned into a full-blown discussion across the basketball community, one thing became certain. Whatever was discussed behind those doors was important enough to change the conversation around the team. Now, fans aren't just waiting for answers. They're expecting something big. And if history has taught us anything, it's that moments like these don't stay quiet for long. Something is coming, and everyone can feel it. As news of the mysterious meeting continued to spread, the reaction from fans was immediate and intense. What started as simple curiosity quickly turned into a full-scale debate across the basketball community. Social media platforms were flooded with opinions, theories, and heated discussions, all centered around Caitlin Clark and her teammates. Supporters of Caitlin Clark were quick to defend her, suggesting that whatever decision was being made had to be strategic and well thought out. They argued that players at her level don't make moves without a clear purpose. For them, this meeting was a sign of leadership, a moment where key players were stepping up to take control of their situation and shape their future. On the other hand, critics saw things differently. Some questioned why such a meeting was happening in the first place. They wondered if it indicated deeper issues within the team, possibly disagreements, pressure, or even internal conflict. For these fans, the secrecy only made things more suspicious. The involvement of Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull added even more layers to the discussion. Both players bring their own strengths and personalities to the team, and fans began debating how each of them might influence whatever decision was being made. Some believed this was a sign of unity, while others saw it as a potential clash of strong personalities. As the debate grew louder, media outlets and analysts also joined in. Sports commentators began breaking down the situation, offering their own interpretations and insights. Some highlighted the importance of player-led decisions in modern sports, while others warned about the risks of too many voices trying to lead at the same time. What made this situation unique was how quickly it escalated. Within hours, it went from a quiet meeting to one of the most talked-about topics in the basketball world. Clips, posts, and reactions were being shared at an incredible pace, with each new perspective adding fuel to the fire. Fans weren't just watching anymore, they were actively shaping the narrative. Every opinion, every comment, and every theory contributed to the growing tension around the situation. It became less about what actually happened and more about what people believed had happened. For Caitlin Clark, this level of attention is nothing new, but this time it feels different. The focus isn't just on her performance. It's on her decisions, her leadership, and her role in something much bigger. As the debate continues to intensify, one thing is clear. This is no longer just a story. It's a movement of opinions, emotions, and expectations. And with so many voices involved, the pressure is only going to increase. Because in moments like these, the truth doesn't just come out, it explodes. As the debate continued to grow, the pressure surrounding Caitlin Clark and her teammates reached an entirely new level. What began as a private meeting had now turned into a situation where every move, every word, and every reaction was being closely watched. Inside the WNBA, moments like this are never taken lightly. When multiple key players come together and spark this level of attention, it sends a signal that something important may be shifting. Whether it's about leadership, strategy, or team dynamics, these moments often define what happens next. For Caitlin Clark, this situation places her in a unique position. As one of the most talked-about players in the league, she naturally becomes the face of the situation. Even if the meeting involved multiple voices, the spotlight remains firmly on her. Every interpretation, every headline, and every reaction somehow circles back to her name. This kind of attention can be both powerful and challenging. On one hand, it shows influence, proof that her presence matters and that her actions carry weight. On the other hand, it creates expectations that are nearly impossible to escape. Fans want answers, analysts want clarity, and the media wants a story. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull are also feeling the impact. Being part of such a high-profile situation means that their roles are being examined more closely than ever before. Every detail, from their performance on the court to their interactions off it, is now part of the larger narrative. What makes this situation even more intense is the timing. In competitive sports, moments like these often happen when stakes are already high. Whether it's the pressure to perform, the expectations from fans, or the internal goals of the team, everything starts to overlap. And when that happens, even a single decision can have far-reaching consequences. Some analysts believe that this moment could define the team's direction moving forward. If handled correctly, it could strengthen unity, build trust, and create a clearer sense of purpose. But if things are misunderstood or mishandled, it could lead to confusion, tension, or even division. That's why the next steps are so important. How the players respond, how the team communicates, and how the situation is managed will all play a role in shaping what comes next. Right now, everything feels uncertain, but also full of possibility. This is the kind of moment where stories are written, where reputations are tested, and where the future begins to take shape. And as the pressure continues to build, one thing is clear. Whatever happens next, everyone will be watching. As the situation continues to unfold, one question is now on everyone's mind. What happens next? The meeting involving Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull may have started behind closed doors, but its impact is now impossible to contain. For the WNBA, moments like this often become turning points, not because of what is officially announced, but because of how players, fans, and the media respond to it. The league is growing, attention is increasing, and expectations are higher than ever before. In that kind of environment, even small developments can lead to major changes. For Caitlin Clark, this is another defining chapter in her already powerful journey. She has proven time and again that she thrives under pressure, but this situation is different. This isn't just about performance, it's about leadership, influence, and the ability to handle a moment that extends far beyond the court. At the same time, Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull are also stepping into a bigger spotlight. Being part of this situation means that their roles are now more significant than ever. Fans are watching closely, trying to understand what this moment means for the team as a whole. What makes this story so compelling is the uncertainty. There is no clear answer yet, no official conclusion that explains everything. And sometimes that uncertainty is what keeps people engaged. Fans are not just waiting for results, they are waiting for meaning. They want to understand what this moment represents and how it will shape the future. Some believe this could lead to stronger teamwork, clearer communication, and a more unified direction. Others worry that it might create pressure, expectations, or even conflict if not handled carefully. Both possibilities exist, and that's what makes this moment so important. In sports, moments like these often define legacies. They reveal how players respond to pressure, how teams handle challenges, and how leaders emerge in times of uncertainty. This is one of those moments. As the next games approach, every action will be watched more closely than ever. Every performance, every interaction, and every decision will be part of the story. Fans will analyze everything, searching for clues about what really happened and what it means moving forward. And in the end, that's what makes this so powerful. It's not just about one meeting, one decision, or one moment. It's about what comes after. Because sometimes, the biggest stories in sports don't begin on the court. They begin in moments like this and change everything that follows.